month. June is just such a great vibe. It is a breath. It is the breath of fresh air that I know I needed. Just to level set, just to bring us back down, get integrated again. And I want to just take a moment to talk about what May was all about and why June is such this beautiful reprieve. So May was all about incoming revelations. And now that these revelations have shown themselves to us, that, you know, we may be in the process of understanding what that means for us still currently, we can really use the energies of June to bring incoming motivation, that motivation to take the first step, to get the courage to reach out there, to do the thing for the first time that we've been wanting to do. It could be incoming quiet, giving us a moment to process and integrate all of the energies of May, the, you know, beautiful eclipse season that we had. And then incoming action, which is going to help us move those revelations forward. So take that first leap and then continue to take the next steps to build that consistency, that habit around what we're trying to manifest. So June itself, from an aspect point of view, is much quieter. It is a quiet month considering what we have been working with and the aspects that we've been having since the beginning of 2022, the beginning of the calendar year. And thank the goddess for that, right? Like, so right on time. We had that roller coastery May where like every couple of days the energy was shifting and changing. We had this gigantic eclipse season in the Taurus Scorpio axis for the first like solid time of the year. And that's really what my first point is all about. So the first point is this month, there's not a lot that we have aspect wise to work through. So there's not a lot of challenging, hard aspects during this month that is really going to cause us to like literally be doing the work every single day. It's this quiet space of integration. It's this quiet space of learning, of understanding, of allowing, of kind of processing. However, even though it will be quiet and giving us space and time to do all of those things, there is a lot this month that we can work on through motivation and action. Meaning, while we're going to have this space cleared of not having to deal with lessons, not having to deal with triggers, not having to deal with things coming up or being delayed ish. I'll put an ish on that. This month can really be a lot about just nose to the grindstone, getting the work in, taking that, you know, inspired action, motivating ourselves to begin to work through what we want to work through. And we do that through point number 2, which is fire and air bringing our ideas to life. This is in reference to the heavy Aries and Gemini energy signatures that are prevalent throughout all of June. And when fire and air mix like this, especially Aries and Gemini, you really get this potent cocktail of harmony. Harmony of our ideas, our motion forward, our focus, which all align with the Aries part of our charts. And then how those ideas come together, get put into motion, communicate what we need around them, process the information that's coming in. That's all of that Gemini aspect of our chart. And these two together is really about how you take the catalyst of change, the motivation, which is all cardinal energy, the Aries energy, and how you mold it, change it, morph it, which is mutable energy or Gemini, and how you take these two, you know, catalytic and mutable signs and put actionable steps to bring your manifestations forward in life. We also have a lot of support from personal planets this month, which is point number 3. So for most of the month, each personal planet will be in its home sign. That is great. They are happy. They're working through things. They have energy. They are just bright and soaking it all in. So Mars is in Aries. Venus will be Venus is in Taurus, and then Mercury will be going back to its home sign of Gemini in the middle of June. So like June 13th. The one really interesting thing that I noticed about June itself is with the planet Mars. So Mars only has 2 exact aspects this month, and that is only if you work with Chiron energy. Some astrologers don't. If you don't, that's completely fine. All that means for you is instead of having 2 exact energies this month, there is only one, and it's at the 27th. So we have this entire June timeframe from the 1st to the 27th, today until 26 days in a wake up, where we have Mars being his best self, living his best life in his home sign. Jupiter's there making him expanded, and just he's like left alone to do what he does, which is take action on what motivates us. So I'm telling you, and I got full body goosebumps the first time I said this. I'm getting them again. Do not, I have like a huge mental note for myself this month. Do not waste this energy. Mars is going to have quite the journey ahead of him, especially when we hit August. Now is the time to be diligent. Do not waste this energy. Point number 4, we actually have a lot of numerology in play this month, and specifically aspects and things happening around these 3 numbers, which is the degree point of 7, the degree point of 5, and the degree point of 25. And it's just something that was so prevalent in everything that I looked at that it really couldn't be ignored. 7, 25, and 5. So if you have planets or points in any part of your natal chart that is exact 7, 5, or 25 degrees, this month could be really working with you in a more synchronistic, a more direct way. This is where you may want to be watching for signs around those numbers, synchronicities around those numbers. If you're out somewhere enjoying something and you see the number 7 multiple times, that is a moment to stop, take stock, listen in, and kind of figure out, okay, what is my intuition, or what are my guides? What is my Ori telling me right now? Where am I at? And just start to kind of take notice of those things. I did want to review each number specifically around the tarot. So I did bring out my tarot cards. So let me go ahead and make myself a little bit bigger so you can see the cards really well. I'm actually going to start with the number 5, which aligns with the tarot of the major arcana of the Hierophant in the tarot. The Hierophant also aligns with Taurus or Venusian energy. The Hierophant itself is very much about tradition, right? Like, I'm just going to bring this a little closer for everybody. It's very papal. In any deck that you're going to look at, it's got this papal energy to it. It truly is about the stability. That's where this Taurus alignment comes from. It's about the stability of things. It's about giving earthly order, earthly meaning, earthly stability to the incredible complex diversity that we find ourselves in on a daily basis. The complexity of cultures, of diversity, of ethnicities, of religions, of information, all of these complexities that are kind of outside of our control. It's really about bringing stability to that and bridging that gap between the 3D and the 5D. The number 2 is associated not with any zodiac sign, but with the moon in general. So I'm going to bring this a little bit closer for everyone. This is the High Priestess. She is beautiful. I love the imagery in this deck. I'll put the deck in the description box in YouTube once I'm done, in case anybody wants to find out more about this deck. And the High Priestess has secrets. She has secrets that only she knows, only can find through intuition, through that feeling body. It's about divine alignment. It's about what's hidden and bringing those things to light. It's about intelligence, the cycles of things. And this is where we get 25. Oop, let me put it this way, 25. So 25 itself has the energy signature of 2 and the energy signature of 5. And it's truly the marriage of these two cards. It's the marriage of the Hierophant, that earthly understanding, and the High Priestess of intuitive wisdom. How do we take what's up here, channel it down, and bring it down here? And you'll see as we get into the moons and as we get into the transits, this is really strong energy this month. So just to wrap up here, 5 is also associated with positive change, as well as the archetype of the Orisha Oshun. 25 talks about changes, talks about big decisions, talks about the new you. That's that kind of alignment energy, which again, in order to manifest great change, in order to manifest and make action and take action towards those big decisions and what big decisions they are, and create that new you, you need to have that energy of both intuitive as well as earthly in the Hierophant and the High Priestess. And we're going to round out with the Chariot. So let me bring this a little bit closer. This is the number 7. The Chariot is aligned with Cancer and the Moon. And this is a card of victory. It is movement, right? Fastest card in the deck, sometimes called. It's really about the drive to succeed, though. This card is all about knowing our heart's desires and making a drive towards accomplishing them, and then having victory within that, doing what it takes, whatever it takes, to evolve, survive, and thrive within what you're passionate about. And here we've got spirit, duality, which I love for Gemini season, ideas, and then again, the archetype of the Oshun Ogun, which is all about breaking those barriers, charting new paths, clearing the way for everything. And then we move on to the last point here, which is all about 5D and 3D timelines and timeline splits. So June, which we talked about just one point ago in these cards, is really strong with this Hierophant and High Priestess energy. It is very strong with 5D and 3D timelines running parallel, maybe crossing each other for some of us. Just depends upon how you're working and where your energy is at this month. But what these splits really tie into is the full moon in Sagittarius, which we'll talk about in just a moment. That's going to happen on the 14th of this month. And the catalyst for these timeline splits is really Saturn and Neptune. And they both have a huge part to play in June. One of Saturn's roles in astrology is that of the timekeeper, or father time, typically called. He constructs and puts the foundation, puts the structure around what we feel as time on Earth from a 3D perspective. Neptune, on the other hand, is the keeper of the higher realms, where that kind of 5D energy, where time may not exactly exist, or if it does exist, it probably doesn't exist in the same way that Saturn utilizes time for us here on the earthly realm. So what this can feel like in real life is a true feeling that you're doing something in your consciousness, but it hasn't translated into real life yet. kind of that projection thinking, that astral traveling. But whatever you're moving or going towards really hasn't landed yet for you. Or you're living ahead. That can be another energy signature of timeline splitting and then crossing over, where you're living ahead and not ending or tying things up in the 3D in current cycles, which what that ends up doing is it ends up leading to energetic ties to your past, which you don't want, right? You're trying to close off these timelines so that way you can go and move forward into the next evolution of who you are, your next life, your next timeline cycle. And if you have these energetic ties, what that's going to mean is sometime in your future, you're going to have to go back to clear those up or relearn some things and tie them off then. So when you kind of feel like you're kind of moving forward and living ahead, you need to come back and ground into your present so that way you can truly tie everything off here so you can move on unobstructed. And a real life example of this, right now, if you follow me on the socials or have been watching these, you know that we're in the process of moving to Texas. And part of that, we've been talking about adjusting our nutrition. Now, nothing has been set in stone yet, where we've got kind of like these abstract ideas going on. We've like begun doing some research. We've got some thoughts about what we want that to look like, but nothing is set in stone. We're not even in Texas yet, right? Like we're not even there. But what I've noticed is my body consciousness is already beginning to prepare for that change. I'm already like, okay, I don't want those. I don't want those. What I need to do, and I feel this, and I'm like, okay, what is happening? Hold on. Let me make awareness of this, because I need to come back and live in this moment and be here and still learn and grow and tie off the things. So that way I'm not carrying that into my future. And as my Ia always says, things happen in the spirit world or the 5D before they ever happen in the physical or the 3D. And that is really a lot of what we could be experiencing this month. The last thing that I wanted to make sure everyone had foresight on is the fact that we truly only have June and July before what I'm dubbing the show, quote me on that, the show starts in August. It's going to be a show. I literally have this vision. Again, this is that timeline jumping of doing a whole circus theme for the August Habitual Cosmic Review, because it's going to be quite spectacular. But we need to be prepared for that. June and July is really all we have. And quarter three, the theme that I discussed for quarter three in my 2022 overview I did at the beginning of the year was pivot, in all caps, journey to success. So over quarter two, we've had this theme running of incoming, and now we're putting into motion all of the things that we need so we can harvest during harvest season, which aligns in September at Mabon or the start of Libra season. That's when harvest begins, kind of that month of September into October, maybe even a little bit into November. So June and July, Mars is in Aries, Jupiter's in Aries. We have quieter energy. We really need to focus on our journey. So when August comes around and pivots come up for us, we are really prepared and face those pivots with agility. We've practiced that agility over the last 2 months. We've practiced our flexibility with change and our resilience to when things kind of get brought up for us as we get into August. So as Miguel de Cervantes says, forewarned, forearmed. To be prepared is half of the victory.